Welcome to the glorious guide to all things Deathbox. Today I'm going to show you how to build a Deathbox, how to move a Deathbox up the battlefield, and how to attack into a Deathbox with your own Deathbox. So stage 1, building a Deathbox. This is the simplest thing you can do while defending in Conqueror's Blade. First, you have your stalwarts line up alongside the wall just prior to the entrance you are attempting to defend. And you do this so enemy artillery cannot bombard your units, nor can ranged units pepper them with arrows. Next, you want your Fortebraccio units to move and be contained completely within the unit of stalwarts. However, you want the Fortebraccio units themselves to start halfway down the stalwarts. This helps keep them safe from enemy fire. Once in place, Fortebraccio should not be moved unless advancing a death box, as we will see later. Next up in the death box is the IPG or Imperial Pike Guard unit, and this lines up either within or behind the Fortebraccio units. The main goal of the IPG is simply to advance into the enemy push, whether they use cavalry or infantry units, in an attempt to protect the death box for as long as possible. They should ideally meet the enemy troops just in front of your stalwarts. Immediately behind the death box, you will find the Scipio, aka Flamers. These are the core of the death box, and the team must prioritize keeping these units alive if you want to guarantee the integrity of the death box. Finally, at the back, behind the death box, is the Pavis or Falconetti units. Both of these units are designed to damage enemies from range whenever they enter the city, and their main goal is to keep the frontline units alive as much as possible. These units soften enemy troops so that your close range or melee units have an easier time and survive for longer. They also get free rein to attack the enemy if your enemy tries to set up within the city limits prior to their attack. The IPG and then Pavis further back.
Switch them to Maggie so they don't shoot.
Pavis like
Put the Pavis here.
further
That's-
back. They shouldn't be a part of the death, but they should be a separate entity. Alright. So that's like a normal
That
building.
looks like
Part 2. Advancing your death box. The easiest way to move your death box up the battlefield is to stay in formation and have the units slowly advance by manually advancing them with X. This requires the entire pace of the formation to be set by the stalwarts, who want to advance in such a way that their individual units keep their shields up and remain in their formation, rather than just sending them to run a large distance with their shields down. This has the benefit of keeping them safe if something unexpected happens, such as reinforcements spawning and rushing with cavalry. Here you can see our house show this off and give some tips as well. If we were pushing it, we'd go at the pace of the shield, so I'd move us up a little bit, and then everybody would just move up, like keep the same distances essentially, and just move up a little bit. We'd go at the pace of me. I don't want to cause my units, so if I move them far away, they drop everything and run. I don't want to do that. I want to keep them so that they're essentially keeping formation, and they're just going forward a little bit and putting their shield up. And I should do it slow enough that you guys are able to keep pace and brace in between. There.
actually if you put this fortress a little slightly bit, we should have both pikes leveled up, so like both our pikes would hit at the same time. I think just a little bit. I've rebraced mine, so
I mean, if we're doing if we're properly pushing up, we'd probably also do it like this as well.
then I'll be slightly behind in this circle, and in case we need to push, I can just start advance.
If they want a cav charge, then you can fuck them up. But you don't move the Fortebraccio without the
And this is to push a death box, you said, right?
Yeah, this is to like advance your death box up the line.
Actually, I think the good idea is to go in the settings and disable that it switch formation when you tap X, and you just
Oh,
constantly tap in X, so they constantly
no,
following you
no,
in the
no.
formation.
Get away.
We pushed too far.
Something like that. If you constantly tap in X, like
Yeah.
they would follow you in a formation all the time. They're not gonna spread out like they do it on a follow. So if you constantly tap an X, they would just constantly going after you. And they will keep all the time formation because you're constantly telling them to make the new formation. They just like constantly clicking.
Part 3. Attacking into a death box with your own death box. There is no perfect way to attack into a death box. However, there are some factors that remain the same. Short swords should lead the charge with their belly slam ultimate. Melee units should move in with the short sword and attack when they do. Disrupts or CC should then be chained. For example, in the following clip we'll have 3 short swords, so it's vital that they all ult sequentially rather than at once. When facing a split death box, like we do, you should focus on eliminating one side before you turn your attention to the other, preferably prioritizing the side with flamer units. Melee units such as stalwarts, pikes, and fortebraccio should all be braced after they've moved in and will likely need to be replaced as soon as their hero can.
I think they get it from there.
So what we'll do is each longs Stoka ult first, then Pasty, then Ronsard.
Okay.
And we'll
Ult
move in
left side, right?
ult right side.
Or we're not ulting
All
left
right
side.
No, we're not ulting left side, we're ulting right side.
Okay,
And we're gonna
okay.
move
all
move
right
all
side.
your
Okay.
units in with the first ult.
Okay.
We're going in on
wait.
Stoka's mark.
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2. Let's go, boys.
Let's move those flamers up to do
And
any
Star was
semblance
gone.
of damage.
Star was gone.
Oh no, you don't run start.
This is what you do. You go for flamers. You guys aren't going for the flamers on the attack.
Flamers
I
need to move
tried.
up, they're not doing anything.
Yeah, Flame is absolutely toasted my Starwood.
I suicided for your 2 unit of flamers and they just were hitting me most of
So
them. And then
basically, like this should like.
And
hold the
then we
left
can
side.
move to the then we can focus on the left side now.
I
We
mean,
have the
and
flamer advantage.
in the gate that doesn't really work.
Because on the gate you can't really run quite around there but I still think it's a good representation of how it could go.
It's as good as we're gonna get without it
Yeah.
being in a